I'll just start that. I'll just start that now. So let's just begin with a centering and a meditation and just aligning ourselves and becoming fully present with our breath, just using our breath in and out to align, feel grounded, feel your seat and your feet connecting with Mother Earth and down into Mother Earth's heart. And then bringing it all the way up, opening out the crown chakra, our crown of light, and receiving from the source whatever it is we need, but including just pure light and love, divine love. Bringing all our chakras into alignment, harmony, balance. I'm grateful to be here this morning together. Whenever you're ready to come back. Timing. Okay.
In the middle of that, my husband decided to hose off his boots, so that's why I muted.
Yes. So, how was it going through these spiritual initiations for you?
I'll
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Keith.
Go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, I guess what I want to say was that it was interesting, just the overall general process in terms of, like you said, going through it and just the initial read through was kind of like there's a recognition that, oh, I'm here. And when I started reading the latter ones, it was like, okay, this is information. It doesn't feel like I need the information. It was too intellectual for me at that point to go and really try to absorb the latter ones, even though it's like, I guess in the past I would have been like, oh, am I here? Am I here? And
yes.
But there's more a grounded, like, okay, this is where I'm at. Let's be in the present. And when the stuff in the future comes, that's great. And but I don't need to know about what's coming as much as I would have liked to in the intellectual, pursuits of the mind in the past. Yeah, that's
exactly.
That was it.
I love it. Yes.
Oops.
What about you, Patty?
I have to say I had to read each one about 2 or 3 times.
Oh yeah.
I had to take copious notes. And I'm not sure that my meditations afterwards. Oh, a hummingbird. Thank you.
Hi, Hummer. Hi.
I'm not sure that my meditations bore a lot of real intense deep truth, but some of the stuff that came up was, I think, useful. But I think I'm going to have to really go back with each one and really read it again, because it was really esoteric.
Yes.
And it's been a while since I've read stuff like that, so wrapping my head around it
right
was,
right.
What I was wondering is if you could give us some background on the Ascended Master Joel Kuhl.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, in the early 80s for myself, I was back at college in Western Massachusetts, and a friend suggested that I get an astrology reading with someone who was at Amherst College, and he was a non-traditional student, so he was older. But he introduced me to Alice Bailey. the Alice Bailey material, okay, and it's many, many, many volumes of books, telepathed to her, channeled to her by the Ascended Master Dwal Kul. Okay, and Dwal Kul is also known as the Tibetan, but he was like a newly ascended master in a sense. These were in the 30s. She was given these books in the 20s and 30s. And so this was between the world wars and during the Second World War. So what Dwal Kul was bringing forth to her and through her was also about a heavy time of dark forces on the planet and what we were moving through and beyond. Okay. And so she was able to understand because she had studied a lot of metaphysical things herself. Okay. So she was a channel ready to receive this esoteric information, you know. Anyway, there's lots and lots and lots of books by her, Alice Bailey, and there's a organization set up to publish her books, and that holds monthly full moon meditations for many, many decades near the United Nations in New York City and globally. But this is where the great invocation came through. The wonderful prayer and invocation, the great invocation. So they were trying to shift the energies of this global conflict going on, you know, at the time. And so one thing about this, even the spiritual initiations work here, and all of it is that we've now moved into a majorly new time, which is kind of beyond all of this. You know, now it's in our daily life, really, that we are seeing a much bigger picture, including a galactic picture, a universal picture, a cosmic picture, right? So we've evolved. I mean, I see it as each generation, which are shorter, much shorter now, like maybe 7 to 10 years for a generation or less even. We've been evolving in every way, mentally, emotionally, and including spiritually, right? Because the earth and all of humanity, all life on this planet is in the midst of the ascension process to higher dimensional levels of being and expression, right? So, so this is in a sense old material, but for some reason in January, I got guided to offer these 3 classes, with this being one of them. And there are insights here to be had. So for the first initiation, I'd just like to hear from you both of what you know or remember or can identify as the time when you became aware of the oneness, your oneness with all that is, with all life. And it's called the birth of love in the cave of the heart, right? It's when the heart pops open in this way where you realize a oneness of everything. That is the beginning of the path on a higher level of being, let's say, a more aware.
Can I tell you a story about
Yes.
that? One thing, though, I want to say is I don't think there's anything such as old information.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, because it
Right.
comes around again, and
Absolutely,
that's
Patty.
why the spiral is my symbol, is because
Yeah.
it comes around again and it just
Yeah.
expands as it
Ooh, I
as
got
it comes
chills.
around.
I got yeah. Mhm.
Number 2, I've been reading the Casey material and understanding oneness, or trying to understand oneness, for quite some time.
Yes.
Since I was a young adult. Okay. My
Yes.
mother had Casey books. Okay. And I had read them as a teenager and then joined in ARE, in my 20s, in my early 20s. But this came in around 2000, I think.
Uh-huh.
I went on a trip to Europe with my daughter, with my oldest daughter. It was her graduation gift from high school. And I was lucky enough to see Notre Dame
Yes,
before.
yes,
I cried that day. Oh my God, I cried so hard that day.
yes,
But we walked up. This is my first time ever in Notre Dame, and we walked up the aisle, up the nave, towards
Yeah.
the altar, right? And a choir started singing in chant, Gregorian chant, and I could feel my heart center go bam,
okay, there you go.
and I started crying. And
There
my
you
daughter's
go.
going, Mom, you okay? I said, I'm just overwhelmed. I'm just overwhelmed and awed that I'm actually here in Paris in Notre Dame.
Yes,
Years later, I went to an ARV function with Freddie Silva.
yes,
Oh God, he's a hoot, isn't he? But he talked about the altar altering us.
yes,
It's just another word for altar. And
yeah,
and he talked about ley lines and about how all these spiritual centers like cathedrals that were
yes,
built on top of other temples and stuff like that are
absolutely,
all built on the conjunction of ley lines.
absolutely, yes,
And in 2008, I was able to go to Egypt.
yes,
It's very cool. And at the Temple of Karnak,
yes,
the
yes,
Temple of Karnak is built the same way.
yes,
And I
yes,
felt the
yes.
same thing as I walked into the Temple of Karnak.
Right. Yes. Well, okay then. Okay then, there you go. And see, it's coming through you. It's coming through you. It's emanating. We emanate. See now, love. We emanate
Well,
love and light.
Well, it's going to take time for it to kind of,
Yes, to
yeah,
integrate. To integrate. Yeah.
and I tell people, yeah, integrate. I tell people that when I do their integrated imagery, is
Yeah.
this is going to take time. It
That's-
doesn't make any sense now. It may not make any sense now, but wait weeks, months, and it will start to sink in. And I get emails from people saying, "Oh, that's what that was." Matter of fact, I had one client who would go out to her car, and then all of a sudden I get a text. Oh, I understand what that means.
Yes, exactly. Yes. Right.
Yeah,
Right. It's
Yeah.
filtering down. It's filtering down into
Yeah.
the conscious mind. And it does take
Yeah.
time.
And you have to kind of prepare yourself by just doing daily meditation. But I tell everybody, you need to meditate daily. You have to meditate every day.
Yes.
That's how you get this info.
Yes. What about you, Keith?
Yeah, for me, it was the birth of my son that I think where my heart opened, and
Oh,
I guess a little bit of background is that I went through a period of, like a lot of us, through childhood trauma, and had been shut down emotionally.
yes.
And I went through one of these personal growth seminars similar to EST when I was in my mid 20s, I guess.
Okay.
And, was exposed to this spiritual concepts, at least conceptually,
Yes.
but I didn't realize how shut down emotionally I was. But when my son was born a couple of years later, he's 40 now. So
Yes.
40 years ago, it was a surprise. I felt like I was floating on air for a couple of days.
Yes. Yes.
I had no idea of what this experience would be like, and for me, it was that opening of the emotional side, and it took a lot of work to work through. I'm still working through some of the trauma and stuff, but I
Yes.
think that was the beginning. That was the initiation. Uh,
Yes.
Even though there was it wasn't a conscious choice, at least not this ego or this
Well,
mind, but
yes.
I think, yeah, at some level, there was a choice that,
Yes.
this was going to happen. It was part of
Yeah.
my life plan.
Right. Yes. Yes. Mine too just happened spontaneously in 1977, which was my 22nd year. But I was just on the beach in Southern California by myself, watching the light on the waves. I love light on water, just gazing at the light on the waves. And I just had what I later came to call an at-one-ment experience where my heart just burst open and I've never been the same since, basically. So, yes, well, this is wonderful. It's wonderful to recall. That's one of the functions of this, I feel, is to recall these, well, because they are initiations, because we really aren't the same after, you know?
Yes.
And it's a double-edged sword, because not only are we sensitive to information coming through, oh, that's positive, we're also more sensitive to the negative that we feel around us.
Totally, totally. And
My son-in-law had to be rushed to the hospital on Monday with pancreatitis. And I took my daughter to the hospital because she was too upset to drive herself. So I took her there and waited for her. And I was in the waiting room. I
Yeah.
couldn't sit in there.
oh
I had
gosh,
to go
yes.
out to the car.
Oh gosh, yes, Patty. Yeah.
I was just absorbing all this stuff. And no matter how hard I tried to shield, it was just like, no, I'm
Yeah.
going to the car. I'm
Exactly.
done with this. So
Totally.
yeah.
Yes. Well, yes, after mine, I went through a 3-year dark night of the soul after this awakening. I had a 3-year period of dark night of the soul where I was reviewing basically every selfish act I had ever done, every, stuff like that. I was tormented by that. But I had to revisit like every one of my less than light, stuff in myself and expressions of that, so that's part of it too, right? And the second initiation, that's what that is about. Like facing, once you wake up like that, your heart opens up like that, you do need to process process all the mental and emotional, as well as the experiences from our life and stuff that need to be processed and faced and forgiven, overcome, ultimately overcome and forgiven. We have to forgive ourselves unconditionally at some point, right? For all the ways we failed from being perfect light and love and so on.
Well, you want to see in what I got in my meditation for the first one, seeing a wild world birth. It said it can be hard to see the divinity of others in a world. What was that? In a world, something by ego, led by ego, ruled by ego.
Yes.
Really hard to see that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You got something you want to share?
I was just thinking of what you were describing, Jules, about going through the dark night of the soul. And my experience, similar experiences, was thinking about Pandora's box and how, it's a perfect allegory for,
Yes.
this spiritual path. And when we choose to it, we open this box and, once the truth is kind of opened up, we can't close it. Yeah.
No,
That's,
right.
yeah.
We can't close it. We can't close it. We have to keep walking the path. In other words, I get you're saying, which is so true, isn't it? Yes. Yes. And also the sensitivity, like you're talking about, Patty, the enhanced sensitivity that makes us feel and see everything. And it can be very difficult, for sure. Very difficult. Yes. So the third, let's see. And so also, another thing that Dwal Kul says in the second initiation is that what originated by us must be dissipated by us. So in a sense, we start facing our karmas too, right? Our patterns, our karmas, our patterns. And so they need to be recognized so that we ourselves can dissipate the tendrils from the past that are not serving us. right? And then
He mentioned something in that second, and I wrote a note here. What is meant by spiritual glamour?
spiritual glamour is like feelings of superiority, pride,
Oh,
like
okay.
I know it all. I got that. I got it, and it's because when we do open spiritually and we're so much more aware and so on, well, what the ego can come in there, right? But it's spiritual glamour. It's like, oh, I'm so spiritual, oh, yeah, kind of thing. That kind of thing.
Okay.
Spiritual glamour,
Gotcha.
right? Instead
I thought so, but yeah,
instead
I
of
wanted
in
to get a
the spirit
confirmation
of-
from
yeah,
you.
instead of in the spirit of service, of
Okay.
passing it on. And he brings in here too the whole idea and reality that the soul exists on its own plane, right?
Yeah, I thought that
And
was interesting.
Sure.
exactly. And the soul utilizes any human lifetime for the purposes of its growth, the soul's growth, resolution of things, and expression and service. So once the heart opens, sees the soul comes online, the awareness of the soul comes online, and that level of our being, which is, yeah. So, and he says as well, that by the end of the second initiation, the soul is fully infused in all the lower bodies, mental, emotional, etheric, physical. So the soul is infused, and then we are then basically operating as a soul. And he names it as well, at one ment with your soul. And so then we are operating from that level of awareness, whose scope is much bigger, right? Anybody want to make any comments about that?
No, but it's better understood when you said it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your interpretation makes sense to me.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so then what the notes I took briefly on the third initiation is that now we're soul guided, as I just said, and the task now is love and group relationships of all various kinds. And then all life becomes one of revelation. So see, once the soul is activated like that within us, then we do get continual insights, revelations, ahas, more expanded consciousness, making more connections, right? Making more connections, stuff. What was your response and feeling about this third initiation?
Keith, you go
I'm not
ahead.
sure.
I feel like
Oh,
I'm
good.
talking a lot.
Oh, yeah, sure. So,
Hmm.
I want to step back. I think I'm not sure if I completed the second initiation step, but I feel like I've kind of stepped at least partially into the third initiation.
Mhm.
And I'll kind of describe what I've been going through recently, and Joe's like to, and even you, not, I'm sorry, Patty, you too, if you have any thoughts about this, I'd love to hear them. But I've come to a state where I'm pretty much observing the emotions and thoughts from an observer perspective.
Mhm.
So I'm
Mhm.
finding these things coming through, and it's gotten to be kind of real time. Like it's not like I have to wait an hour and then look back and say, "Oh,
Mhm.
this is what was happening." I'm pretty
Yes.
much in the moment, and I'm feeling like things are simply moving through me, like this human emotion is going through me, and it's not. There's a knowing that that's not the real ultimate me,
Yes.
and it's this experience which is for me an indication that I'm in this third initiation phase of it's like I am clearing out things like, yeah, you mentioned, Jules, you went through this dark night of the soul.
Mhm.
Some of this stuff is coming up. It's memories from the past, and I'm just observing it come up, and I feel the emotion, and allow myself to just feel it, and it just passes through me.
Exactly.
So there is
Exactly.
still things moving through me. That's human consciousness, but it's being moved, and it's not static anymore. It's not stuck. So
Got
that's kind
chills.
of where I'm at.
I got
Yeah,
chills, Keith. Yes.
and I'm
Well, and the
wondering,
cleaning house,
yeah.
the cleaning house continues for decades, if you ask me, but it's a process. It's a
Yeah.
process.
I think it's going to be a lifelong process, frankly.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lifelong
That's
process.
what we're here for, I think. That's what
Yeah,
we're here
Yeah.
for.
yeah. And we're clearing all of it, all our incarnations as well.
Yeah. Yeah, you get into that in the later initiations, but they talk about releasing the planetary karma
Yes,
aspect
that's
of it.
right.
So, yeah.
That's right, there we go. And as a humanity, as a group consciousness, is very much in that now. We're in a different place now. And one of the things I've noticed lately, like for the past year, but more and more each month, I notice that I feel very tapped into the entire collective human consciousness, actually. And that any good thought that I have, or wise thought, or whatever, is shared immediately with the whole human collective consciousness. And
Yeah.
we're all doing that. So it's all one. That the human collective consciousness is all one. So whatever, which includes the work we're doing, the grueling work that we're doing of clearing out the garbage and forgiving ourselves and others and so on. And then as we clear out the garbage, we keep rising higher in vibration, frequency, and love and light, understanding of it all, understanding of it all. And so that's like the process, it's the
Yeah.
process.
One of the things that came up, they talk about the sleep journey. And I find that when I dream like I'm in some kind of conference,
Yes, yes,
with other minds. It's
yes.
like that part of that grid, that one,
Yeah,
that one consciousness is that I'm visiting that while I'm in the sleep stage.
exactly.
Okay. And so, and unfortunately, I seem to wake up before the great secret is produced. Very frustrating. But anyway, there were 3 things that came up in this meditation, which is amazing. The soul desires to work through the body and mind, but we struggle against it. Emotional stress and egotistical thinking prevent the soul's purpose. And take the pause, breathe, and allow the soul to dominate the discussion.
Well, when you talk about your dreams and being around the conference table,
Uh-huh.
that feels to me like your soul group.
Yeah,
Doesn't it sound like
it
sounds
could.
like your soul group?
Yeah,
Some of those would be your guides now as well, right?
right. Uh-huh.
So you're aware, you're actually aware of working with them actively, and your dream time tunes you into that. Of course, that's true for all of us too. We're all working our soul group as well. Some embodied and some not embodied, some embodied in other planetary systems or so on, whatever, or different dimensional levels, And this is one of the things I'm really interested in these days, is I realize that a lot of my different multi-dimensional aspects that exist on a much higher planes of reality are merging with me here in
In this body.
merging.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of that info I've gotten from readings over the years, right? Like,
Right.
somebody tells me, you're a teacher of young children on Arcturus, an Arcturian world, right? Or this or that, or this or that, all these things which expands our consciousness and our awareness to much greater wholes and much greater understanding of who we are you know? We're so multidimensional. We're so vast, we're truly, you know? And it's in the human life, it's quite the challenge and journey to move beyond the limitations of the human experience, and also the times that we come in on the planet. And so we have come in, and we're all about the same age, I would say, generally speaking, the three of us. But we came in times where there was going to be enormous change, from the kind of change that started happening in the 60s and going forward to now, where now it's really at a spiritual level, the change that's going on, the expansions of consciousness that are going
Well,
on with people.
I was told that when we were required to actually be led in integrated imagery. So that level 3 is life in between lives. And I was actually told that. And I came back only 15 years after my last death. I died in 1944 and was born in 1959. I died during World War II in a
Yes.
concentration camp.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, that was quite that.
yeah.
I had, that was my very first level 1 when I volunteered to be regress first,
Yes.
because I wanted to find out why I had this claustrophobia, and that's why.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
So I was hesitant about coming back again, obviously,
Yes.
after
Yes.
that experience, but they told me, no, we need you, we need you
Yes.
to come back. And so it started with, just started with the Casey readings, and my mother saying to me, everyone's psychic. If you have a soul, you're psychic. And of course, that's what Edgar Casey said. So everyone is psychic. So that's how I figured out she knew all the shenanigans I was up to. It's because she knew. But anyway, and that's basically what started my journey. I'm more empathic than anything else.
Yes.
I feel energy and I see energy and I see things with my physical eyes that I can also see with my third eye, orbs and
Yes. Yes.
elementals and stuff like that. I can actually see them. There are a few in my house.
Yeah.
So but I'm no Sylvia Brown, that's for darn sure. But it's been sort of a journey of learning holistic health and learning transpersonal psychology and moving up through these echelons and writing a book and doing all this. That is my course. That's the path that I see ahead. So
Yes. 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 Yes.
where was I going with this? Okay.
Well, the
Just
integration of your soul work, basically.
soul work, and soul groups. And we were talking about soul
You're-
groups.
you're-
How I met during that life between life progression, I met my soul group. Actually, met my soul group.
Yes. Yes. And so I've become very aware too. I'm calling it our life leads us forward along our soul's purposes and paths. And you just described all of that. First of all, you set it up. You set it up so that you came into a life where you would be immersed in Edgar Casey readings and et cetera. Just that alone, and other things, but all the pieces like you were just describing, Patty, those are all examples to me of how our life guides us to basically express our service here, what we came to do, right?
Right. And I chose. I mean, that you choose all of it.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
getting other people to understand that, though, is
Yeah, but it's a big deal.
I just, because a lot of people are just not, they're not ready to hear that.
No, not
not-
everyone is ready.
They're not ready to hear that.
Not everyone is ready, and we have to honor that.
Yeah.
And that goes through the ascension process too, because I've been saying this to other people for a while, is that not every soul came to Earth right now in order to ascend. They still need and want a 3D experience of duality, you know, separation, black and
But
white, bad.
I think they came as catalysts.
Oh yeah, that's an interesting take on it, Pam.
When I was doing, because I never did psychic readings, I did Akashic record readings for a while.
Yes.
And the Akashic record readings, the librarians were telling people, this person is in your life as a catalyst for your growth.
Yes.
They're a pain in your behind. We know that.
Yes.
Okay. They make you feel bad. They hurt your feelings. They do, but it's a catalyst.
Yes.
If you can have empathy, if you can have sympathy, if you can have compassion for them, then
Yes.
you grow.
Exactly. Exactly.
Thank them for it. Thank them for it and move on.
Thank them. Thank them. I got that memo too. A long time. Thank them right now. And that's getting into the later initiation, say, as well. That whole experience, concept, and understanding of it is getting into the not recognition of evil, so to speak, of the later initiations. So, Keith, what do you have stuff you'd like to share on that?
I will share a thought because it's present. It's this, and pardon me, I don't mean to, no, whatever, but I'll just say this. So the word catalyst is interesting because it technically means that it's a substance that does not get changed in the process. So it enters and it does not change. So
Oh,
when people, you know, I don't, I personally don't believe that the other people are true catalysts in the sense that they aren't changed by the experience. You know, in other words, they're here and they might be a thorn in our sides, but being a thorn in our sides is also part of their path. Even though they might not be on a conscious spiritual path, we're all here to grow and evolve. So I I guess what I'm saying is that um, describing them as catalysts might be a limitation, putting a limitation on others, right? So I
Okay.
just want to respect that kind of energy
yeah.
and understand that we're all here, we're all in this sea of humanity, and
We're all in this together.
I right, we're in this together, and I'm also moving from move from a point where because of the childhood trauma, I've faced life as if it were a battle.
Yes.
You know, like it was competition. I had to win, and winning was life or death for me.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I'm moving into a space of consciousness where I'm realizing that cooperation and being in, like the group consciousness thing, you know,
Yes.
cooperating and working together with people is so important for us. And I think that that
Yes.
that that's what's rising, what's what's raising in my consciousness in this moment. So
Because
I
that's the word
understand.
they used when they came through me, is they said
Mhm.
that. But it could be, I mean, you know, there are many words for that which
True.
prompts change.
Yes. Yes. And
Yeah.
that is a process
Yeah.
of inner revelation also. That is the process of inner revelation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So we get more and more understanding, more encompassing, continue to get more.
And that's the truth, because I learned a lot from my readings for other people too.
Oh, yes. I learned so much from my
You know?
students today. I
Yes.
learned
Yeah.
so.
And they were always surprised when I told them that. I said,
Yes.
no,
Yeah.
that's for everybody. It's for everybody.
Absolutely.
And I tell you know, there's only one of us here.
Yes.
And you
That's
know that
right.
they need to get their head around that. But
I know.
sometimes
Well,
they do,
that's a
sometimes they
big one. That's a big one.
Yeah.
Using that little phrase alone, is
Mhm.
hugely activating.
Mm.
Yeah, but everyone has their own timing with their understanding of this. Yeah, so that's beautiful, Patty. I love that you used that phrase. That
Mhm.
phrase was used with me too 20 years ago,
Yeah.
which also changed everything. There's only one of us here. Yeah, it's beautiful. Now the fourth initiation, called the Great Renunciation. Detachment from the three lower worlds, so to speak, the physical, emotional, mental. And that nothing that really relates to the three worlds, and all is geared only to service. Okay. And this is when you actually transition into the 5D level of consciousness, the ascended master level of consciousness, and what is happening now for the whole planet, which is moving into the 5D, fifth dimension, a world of love, peace, harmony, understanding, connections, etc. Right? Detached love. I mean, also love of all kinds, but a detachment from the drama, from the play, that allows us to see it all from a higher perspective, so to speak, right? And the way Dwal Kul states it in here too is, if I be lifted up, will draw all men and women unto me. Why? Because our frequency has changed, our vibration has changed to a faster vibrating fifth dimensional and beyond awareness or beingness. So then we are actually we're emanating these frequencies of a higher level of consciousness that is more detached from the drama of human life.
Right.
And of the world, right? And instead we are able to lend love to some situation, or lend understanding, or activate love or understanding for others, to be of service, and each in our own extremely unique way, you know?
Yeah.
Well, so Dwal Kul also explains it as then the soul is absorbed into the monad, or the Godhead, right? It's the fusion of the soul and source. So it's another level, it's another level of alignment where, the soul is fused and aligned with the monad, or the Godhead, all that is, the source, all that is. And which then allows the detachment from the details, the detachment from the drama,
Yeah. The loving detachment
loving
is what Edgar Cayce talks about, the loving detachment.
loving detachment. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What stood out to me in this was the renunciation of all material values.
Yes.
Yes. And that's kind of hard for me, because being Taurus, with Sun in Taurus,
Oh, yes.
we like our things.
Yes.
And so, but it doesn't really mean that so much as not having them, as not being so attached to them,
Exactly.
that it's our entire personality.
Exactly.
And that when we do merge with the one, we don't lose our person. I think that's what many people are afraid of. We lose our individuality, but we don't.
No.
We keep our individuality, but we merge with the oneness.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So I have a question about this fourth initiation, and when I guess it's a personal it's a personal level, because my reaction or my thought to it was that, well, as I go through this process of releasing things that have been in my past from my human experience,
Yes.
that it's important to kind of retain this connection to the physical, the 4D world, space time, as I go through this process.
Yes.
Um, Even though I'm having there's still not still, there's this consciousness in me that is quite expansive, and it at times I feel the unity,
Yes.
the non-dual nature, but it's my inner sense tells me that don't leave 4D behind quite yet. I mean, it'll come in time, but not you're not quite ready to make this, a commitment. I'm just wondering whether this is like uh, uh, whether the thought that I need to keep my foot kind of like in the water, sort of deal, keep my toes in the water.
Yes.
Is this real, or is it something that my mind has made up in order to keep me stuck in
That's a good
4D?
That's a good question. That's a good question. But you know what? I feel like only you can answer that. And because you've asked that question,
Ah,
you've been asking it to yourself, but you asked it here with us like this. I feel that that answer is going to come to you.
hmm,
And
thank you.
I don't actually feel like either one of us should answer that. Yeah, because and you will know more even. You'll keep knowing more.
I,
But
I appreciate your response, Jules. Yeah, it feels, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm feeling into the integrity of that, the truth of that. Yes, thank you.
Chills again. I keep getting chills often. 'Cause it's,
Yeah,
okay, so I love the way Dwal Kul characterizes the fifth initiation, which he calls ascension. That freedom, being is simple, free, and unlimited. And the intuition takes the place of the mind and expresses wisdom in all things. The master has attained liberation. And I just want to say for my own life, and this 3-year COVID period has made it very clear to me of how free my life really is. How much time basically I spend alone, spacing out, basically being one with nature. Simple. My life is simple and free and unlimited. And I'm so grateful for that. And in my work at AU, so Patty and I know each other from my work as a mentor at Atlantic University, Keith, which was founded by the Association for Research and Enlightenment to bringing forth the works of
Very.
Okay, so
She was one of my professors. I
yes,
can't remember which class it was, but
yes. So what's happening now is that
Mhm.
in my responses to my students at AU through discussion posts or their papers or anything like that, it's all purely intuitive. I cannot even think anymore, not at all. Everything is immediate. It's like doing a reading for each person with each discussion post in a way, because it's purely intuitive. And so,
Nice.
yes, so that makes me understand more about this fifth initiation, the way Dwal Kul describes it. And see, in this way too, we are liberated then. We are free of caring about any expectations of the outer world at all.
Yeah.
Because we
Yeah.
know who we are, basically, because we know who we are. And we're freed from this need and desire for approval or this or that or whatever, or money or things or all that stuff, everything, right? So being becomes just simple, free, and unlimited. It's not limited by the lower.
Yeah. Also, expectations, freedom from expectations that things will turn out a certain way, or
Yes.
that people should act in a certain way to
Yes.
please us.
Yes, that too. That
When
too.
we
So
become
true.
free of that, we stop having our feelings hurt.
Yes, absolutely.
And I find that the more intuitive I am as I write, the better the writing is.
Yes, I know. Me too. Absolutely. It's
And
very
it worked even, even in my work at AU in my essays. When
yeah.
I went off on a tangent and just wrote,
Yes,
and then I went back and looked at edited and did all that I needed to do and made it more concise.
Yeah.
That stuff was the most profound.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. I see that all the time. And you and including, like I was saying, my own responses. Yes.
But
And
I
so,
found that the most that's of course because the book I wrote, a friend and I wrote a book on intuitive development. And so whenever I see something like that pop up
yes, yes,
and living only by intuition, perfect, correct wisdom and knowledge
yes,
helps humanity.
absolutely.
That's what came up. Yeah.
Totally, totally. Yes, 'cause it's both a deeper and higher level of
Mhm.
rather than the mind, and all the different ways the mind can get effed up, right?
Right.
And
Absolutely.
yes, yes. Um, any more on that? Okay, these are going into the higher ones now here, which are a little more sometimes difficult to grasp or see how they relate to us. But the sixth, oh, right, fusion with the planetary logos with Shambhala. Shambhala is the center where the will of God is known. And our planetary logos is called Sanat Kumara, who came ages ago from Venus to be the mind of this planet, right? The logos of this planet. So once you reach that 5D level of awareness and living it and so on, then it comes the fusion with the planetary logos, as well as the extraplanetary, like galactic. Then we start thinking and being aware of galactic stuff and intergalactic stuff and universes made of galaxies and lots of different life everywhere, right? Lots of life. But we are still working for and with this planet, which is why we're here. But it's a more, as DK says, it's a more intelligent cooperation with the planetary and solar systemic life. We start to think planetarily, like what's good for the whole planet? What do we need here? From the most physical aspects of that, what do we need here on this planet, to the most spiritual aspects and emotional and mental, right? We start thinking planetarily. And we also start thinking much more of Gaia herself, right? Everything from awareness of her beauty to her suffering, all of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And also her purpose. Her purpose. I mean, I have been so struck during this COVID period because my big thing was just to go out, sit in the sun and space out and be one with nature. But this planet may have the most diversity of every kind of any place in the solar system, I'd say, and beyond. This planet, Gaia, has so much diversity. What a gift.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. And, we've come here many times. to help shape and live out and move forward this planetary plan, planetary, because then with all the diversity and then loving and appreciating all that diversity, and then moving into oneness again, understanding there's only one of us here and all that, which includes the trees and the raccoons and everything else, right?
Right, you know,
Right.
because they all have the spirit, you know.
Yeah.
You talk about, you know, like the Manitous, you know, they all have spirit. They all
Yes.
contain spirit.
Yes. Exactly.
And being on that 5D level makes you understand that, you know,
Yes.
everything is alive in one way or another on some subatomic level.
Everything alive. Yes.
I
And
Yeah.
understand.
think everyone should travel more
Mhm.
because you learn so much.
Yes.
I mean, growing up in this country kind of makes you ethnocentric,
Yes, it does.
you know, and in some other countries as well. And so when you travel to other places, I mean, I've been, of course, to Egypt, which is part of Africa. I've been to many places in Europe, and they don't see themselves as the only people on the planet, unfortunately, like Americans do. And I'm very appreciative of that, you know.
Yes. 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 Yes.
For example, in 2008, when I was in Egypt, that's when the housing crisis happened. That's when that big financial collapse happened in September.
Oh,
And we were in Egypt during Ramadan.
yes. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
What cranky people. But anyway,
Yeah.
but at that time we actually were on the Red Sea. We were in a resort on the Red Sea. And that day we had just heard about it. That day me and a couple of my friends had gone on a snorkeling tour to go on the Red Sea. And we were on a boat and there were Spaniards on the boat, very concerned because they knew what happens economically in America happens to them as well.
Yes.
So getting a whole different perspective
Yes.
on how they lived in that type of thing, and talking to anybody in any other country, you know, and their perspective on us,
Yes.
they
Yes.
see us as a bunch of adolescents, and
Yes. Yes.
in many ways we are.
Yes.
You know, it opens your eyes. I mean, the first time I turned on BBC in London, first time I was there, it was like, that's going on in the world. How come we don't see that here?
Exactly. Exactly. Well, we're very self-centered, that adolescent
Yeah. Yeah.
thing too. And we are, yeah. Yeah.
And unfortunately, the mainstream media is culprit in that.
Oh, yeah.
Is that, you know, they don't show us a lot of what's going on in the world.
Yes.
But that's why they want to get rid of TikTok, is because you go on TikTok and these people from other countries are showing what's going on, all the protests and all the stuff, all the
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
their own evolution, and
Yeah.
they're choosing to question authority and that type of thing. They don't want us to see that here. No, ma'am.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Joel Kula writes other books too about the soul of nations and their purposes. And you know,
Yeah, that's interesting.
it's interesting to look at
I'll
that.
have to,
Looking at that, and I'm sorry I can't remember exactly what book that is of his, but
I'm going to look it up. Souls of Nations.
yeah, yeah. So nations, in other words, also have their souls purposes.
Yeah.
And America's, I see as two main purposes as America's, which is to really spread love. Like American people love Americans though for their kind of authenticity, their boldness, and in a sense that really spreading love and interest in others and so on, you know, and also freedom. I mean, of course, that's our big soul signature for America, is to show what freedom really is. And also, which means showing what not freedom is as well.
Right, and that's being challenged very
So-
deeply right now,
The whole
very
spectrum,
challenged.
right? It's the whole
It's
spectrum.
like,
So, yeah. Keith, anything on your mind here?
I am pondering on diversity and you know you mentioned Jules being out in nature and seeing how diverse it is and how this is might be the most diverse planet for God knows how. But
Yeah, yeah.
and I'm thinking that how does that relate to the fact that we are in the human condition kind of stuck in polarity, you know, the differences.
Yeah.
And we see it as a bad thing. You know, we put this label of bad, right? The differences between us and others, and
Yes.
but we can also see it as a positive if we just simply kind of step to the right, maybe a couple of steps.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just kind of incredible how much I think we create in our minds issues that aren't there, that aren't real. It's the part of the illusion that we live under.
It's part of the illusion.
I'm just, it's just incredible,
And we've been
how it all
conditioned to that.
relates. Yeah,
We've been
I'm sorry.
conditioned that way, Keith.
Yeah, yes,
Through our
yes,
schooling, through our uh, family life, through our media, like Patty pointed out, we've been conditioned to duality and polarity for a long time, and many generations. So, and that, but that's a 3D level of consciousness, seeing things as good and bad, black and white, seeing the differences and polarizing them, you know. So we see this in spades. Yeah, we see this in spades. And again, like this past 3 years of the COVID experience, as I call it, has really shown a light on that duality. People
yeah,
making different
absolutely.
choices, you know,
Of how people reacted to this.
exactly.
There were two different schools of thought of how
Yes,
people were going to react to this.
yes, exactly. So, but to get it down to the level of the soul, it's all soul choices as how we react to anything and how large our perspective is on it, basically, in a sense, you know. So as we keep rising in consciousness, vibration, and dimensional levels of consciousness, we have a much larger perspective. So that, like you're saying, the mass media, Patty, it just seems like the playpen. I mean, you know, yeah. So, you know, oh, I remember seeing a little video of like 8 or 10 newscasters on different channels. They were all saying the same
And the same thing,
same
the
script.
same thing.
Yeah.
So it's all scripted. It's
Yes,
all
it's
scripted. And that's why I don't really rely on
oh, good Lord.
televised news.
Oh, good Lord.
I try to read articles
Yes,
from neutral sources,
yes,
you know, NPR and those in the
Yeah.
middle and Reuters, you know, as
Yeah.
much as possible. Because I think we're being fed
absolutely.
information
But
that, you know,
to keep us in a 3D matrix.
yeah,
So, and then, you know, the influence of the dark forces, right? So trying to keep everybody limited and in fear and in
right.
stress and in anxiety and all that stuff. So, but as far as I'm concerned, the dark forces are done on this planet. And I literally think that, and things are opening up now. The light has won. The light has won.
Yeah, it's amazing what it's, you know, what it's shined a light on,
Oh,
you know, that light.
and there's
And,
more.
you know,
There's more.
yeah, what we're seeing now,
Yes.
um,
Yes. Yes.
incredible, astonishing.
Yes. That's
Uh,
what happens when the
yeah.
light comes on. It shines the light.
Yeah, because we can't we can't resolve these issues unless we know what they are.
Yes.
I have a bee on my keyboard,
Aww.
and he's just hanging out.
Aww.
So
Well, hello.
I'm watching him.
A hummer and a bee.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
The seventh initiation, the resurrection. The resurrection. I am life itself, and therefore am immortal. So that's that understanding. That's that realization. I don't know. There's some kind of weird noise in the background. It might be coming from your end, Patty.
It might be.
Let's see if Keith has anything he wants to say first. If you could mute yourself for a minute and just see. Keith, anything you want to say about this? The recognition of cosmic consciousness. I am life itself, and therefore I am immortal.
I'll say that intellectually, I understand this, and
Yes.
at the intellectual level,
Yes.
that's my intellectual belief. It's not been grounded into my full consciousness, so I don't experience the truth of that on a moment by moment basis. I guess that's the bottom line.
Yes.
It's in my it's in my consciousness, but not fully
Yes.
present. Yeah.
Yes. Got it. Well, this is the process, isn't it? This is the process in the bigger picture. Yes. Oops. Oopsie. There we go. Yes. Thank you for that, Patty. What about you? What did this trigger for you?
There's a couple of things. I like what they were talking about. The Earth is special as a planet. It is, I guess, a planet that is created simply for the purpose of resolving karma and ascension. I'm thinking that's what it is. Okay.
Yes.
Achieving resurrection on Earth is the final attainment. The cycle of deaths and resurrections. We die, we go to the bardo, we go to the other, we make decisions about the next life, we come back. That cycle, each one is supposed to push us closer towards loveliness and livingness. I really love that. Let me underline that because that was kind of cool.
That's beautiful.
And the logos being love dash wisdom, love wisdom.
Yes. Because that's our planetary signature.
Yeah.
That's our planetary signature. And Dwalkul also says that we become creators. And again, I'm super aware of this lately more than ever, that every thought we have is creating. Every thought we have is creating. And everything is consciousness. All is consciousness. That's really all it is, right? And
yes.
we are shaping it and molding it with our thoughts and our subconscious beliefs and many other aspects of consciousness.
Yeah. So the more we can consciously,
yes,
we can consciously be within the framework of service.
yes,
How does this serve me and the people around me?
yes, yes.
How does this serve? And if it doesn't serve, can I find another way of thinking?
Yeah.
Can I be become more aware of my thought processes towards love,
Yes. Love, wisdom. Yes.
lovingness and livingness,
Lovingness and living.
allowing others to be where they need to be, wherever that is.
Exactly. Dispassion in that kind of way, detachment in that kind of way, allowing. Yes. Yes. It's big. You can see why these are the later initiations to get to these, points of allowing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's amazing how, I wrote my notes and I did my meditation stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
don't know, for some reason, saying it out loud
Yes. I understand. I know.
brings better understanding.
doesn't
Just,
it?
yeah,
Doesn't
it's
it?
amazing. Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? This is good info for us, isn't it?
Yeah.
Talking about things, yes, really brings it to life even more, and in a new way of understanding even. Keith,
Absolutely.
what? You want to say something?
Actually, no, not at this time. I'm just taking in what's. But I want to say that I agree totally that the dialogue or the discussion, it's
Yes,
more of a trialogue, is very helpful. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah, I can see you right there with it. I can see that. Yes. Yes. Okay, then the eighth initiation. Oh, this is where we get into understanding the purpose of all our planetary activity, to liberate love and light to a wider universe and free the solar system from attacks of cosmic evil. We know the good, the beautiful, and the true, and also the nature and purpose of the Black Lodge in the divine scheme of things. In other words, the nature of duality and why it's even existing. So, what you got there, Patty?
One thing that I starred, because I think it is very relevant to this, what's going on right now. World crises always precede planetary initiation. And that's really relevant right now.
Yes.
Developed sensitivity makes, can't read my own writing. Revelation possible. With multiple lives and multiple experiences.
Yes.
We get a developed sensitivity.
Yes.
And we can liberate that love, that light.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
another note that so much is still hidden. So much is still hidden from us. But it can obviously only be liberated, if we shine a light on it.
Yes.
And something that Keith said came up, moving beyond duality reveals the true nature of reality. Oneness is I use the word catalyst for the spread of love and light.
Yes.
That's what came up in my meditation as I was,
Yes.
And then I would scribble it out and then I can't read it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I've been aware of just lately more how even very dark souls with dark agendas are going to be healing, are going to be healing and enlightening over their own timing as well. And I just got a lot more detachment and dispassion about the dark forces, just to name it that way. Again, this COVID experience has brought me to new understandings of this duality, this 3D duality thing, and of having compassion for and understanding of what in the past I would have rebelled against or really tried to expose or things like that. Instead now to just send love. And I realize this in personal relationships too. Like if there's something out of harmony with somebody, the best thing that I can do is just send them love energetically and to release all judgments, mental judgments that I have of them.
Yeah. That came through in my Akashic readings too, as they suggested that is for people who simply just wouldn't listen.
Yeah.
They don't hear the words, but they can
Yeah.
feel the energy.
Yes.
And one of the best times, especially when it was parents coming in with children,
Yes.
is to go is as if they're small children, putting them to bed. And as they're going through into that sleep stage, that's the best time to kind of interject that energy, or even through words or just feeling or whatever, that, you know, that which we want them to know. And that way it gets into their subconscious before they can fight it consciously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but also
Yeah.
for all parents, like that time to let them know they are loved.
Yes. Yeah.
Um,
But I'll share a personal insight that just came to me as Jules, you talked about the eighth initiation, and it's kind of a global, a really big picture thing.
yes,
And what struck me was that there's a part of me that wants to keep me small.
yes, yes,
It's afraid of
yes,
a failure, in a sense, a failure of perhaps of being exposed, of being the self that I really am.
yeah.
We're all glorious,
Yes,
children of God, right?
yes,
Whatever. And I'm perhaps the what I mentioned earlier, that I really didn't feel like I wanted to get into the latter initiations. Perhaps was that aspect of me showing up saying, you don't deserve this.
yes, yes.
Basically, is kind of that voice.
Yeah, you
I'm
don't
trying to,
deserve this.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
never measure up. I'll never measure up.
yes,
These are very, very common subconscious beliefs we all have, Keith. And
so yeah,
having a difficult childhood as you did, and being demeaned, ignored, whatever the impacts of your childhood makes those subconscious beliefs even more amplified, right? I'm not good
Yeah.
enough. I will never measure up. I don't
right,
deserve.
I can relate to that too.
These are common. These are very common subconscious beliefs. So yes, we need to actually move beyond and have awareness of. Again, I feel it's important to have awareness of those mental concepts and subconscious programs that are holding us back. I feel it's very important to be able to identify them, but then to let them go, transmute them with the violet flame, transmute them, uncreate them, to liberate yourself, because this is all a process of liberation and becoming more and more and more free, autonomous, divinely sovereign, cosmic beings, great beings here in a human form.
In regression hypnosis, we call it reframing.
Yes.
We reframe the experience.
Yes.
We can do this energetically, because since all life is basically illusion, we can create a new reality which is more positive for ourselves and for others energetically.
Mm-hmm.
What happened has happened. We don't necessarily want to fool ourselves into believing it didn't happen, but we can take the experience and reframe it
Yeah.
into a better outcome.
Yeah, and also I feel, one of the things I learned later over decades of time was that for me going through that intensive dark night of the soul where I thought I was the most evil person on the planet. After having a Christing experience, being Christed at one, with everything, so that I experienced the entire spectrum emotionally in every way, of the darkest to the lightest within myself. Okay. And so what does that do for us? It creates compassion, empathy. We can understand anybody wherever they're at in their own process. And we understand the truth that we actually really are love in a human form, but that our experience in life can go the spectrum of the darkest to the lightest, and we've encompassed it all. But ultimately it creates divine sovereignty, freedom, not just here on this planet, freedom throughout the cosmos for us as a being, as an energetic being, right? So we're freeing other aspects of ourselves too.
Yeah.
Right. Including past life aspects of this experience here. But even in the greater cosmos, we're liberating out anything that may be held in containers and jails of any kind. You know what I mean? Limitations. Our work is very, very big. Our soul work, it's very big work.
Well, what comes to mind is that going through the experiences of the light and the dark, it creates space in us to hold what we need to hold as we become what we are.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what's happening.
That's good.
Yes. And the process, the process of it all. And because again, it's all in consciousness, really. So the knots that we're untying, or the revelations that we're having, or insights, or liberating inner experiences and so on, is affecting, again, the whole collective, just the whole collective human consciousness alone. And the planetary consciousness, Gaia's consciousness as well. All the places Gaia's gone through that whole spectrum, right? So it's a liberating factor. Woo! Okay, the final one that he talks about, the 9th initiation, renunciation. Renounces contact with the cosmic physical planes unless he or she has chosen the path of earth service. The revelation is presented of the nature of being and existence, and being equals that which creates. And we receive contact with the great central sun, Alcyon, and the purpose of our solar system. So you can see this is traveling just through greater expansions of consciousness and awareness as well, right? Now, I know this stuff because of Patty Coder-Robles. I don't know if you two each know.
Oh, yeah.
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 But she's always connecting with the great central sun to link and create channels of greater light, greater love, bringing it in from the great central sun, bringing it in through our hearts and out to the world, and so on. These trajectories of energies, all right? Trajectories of energies. And again, of love and wisdom, really, but many things, but what notes do you got there, Patty?
Let's see. I had a question mark, great central sun, but you explained it, so that's good. Revelations of love. It's a process of creation on our planet is unique in relation to all of us.
Yes,
To
yes.
all of us.
Diversity,
Um,
again, right?
Yeah. We are in the second solar system.
Yes.
Okay. And the next root race, the sixth root race, which Edgar Casey talks about, is forming now. It's coming through now.
Yes,
So yeah.
yes, yes. Exactly.
So, I don't know if we're part of the sixth root race or whether it's our children or grandchildren.
It's definitely them, but I think we're forerunners of it too,
Yeah. Yeah.
embodying that and forerunners of it to be able to guide and mentor these younger ones who are definitely here for that.
And in reverse, because I have noticed that they are smart as a whip.
Yes,
They're much smarter than we ever were at our age.
yes, yes, yes.
More tech savvy, they see the world in a different way. They see the world as it is. And I see that in my grandson, my granddaughter, in both of them. They just seem to perceive things that we never did as children.
Exactly. It must be a trip. You're so blessed to have young
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
Well, children of any age in your life personally.
Mhm.
I don't have that right now. And but I really bless and all those of you who do have that and are able to be experiencing this firsthand of this evolution of consciousness with the young ones. And that they're a whole different order of being.
Yeah.
And they
And I see it, especially my granddaughter tends to be more compliant, and she's a really good student, and but she's very smart. But my grandson is the kind that says, no, I don't want to paint.
yes,
No, I don't want to paint.
yes,
I want to
yes,
do this. I want to build with blocks. That's all
Yeah.
he wants to do is just build. He
Yeah.
doesn't want to sing. He doesn't want to dance. He doesn't want to
yes.
paint. He wants to build things, and he wants to run around with his friends.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
there's a refusal there to do things that just don't interest them.
Not his to do.
Not his to do, not interested in doing it. Thanks, but no thanks.
Yep.
So, and I see that as being a new way of seeing the world, and a new way, and a whole generation of people coming through that are going to say, no,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
not going to believe that simply because you tell me that.
Exactly. And that know thyself. They know thyself. They know thyself at a young age,
Yeah.
and willing to. They aren't inhibited or from saying and being that, from stating that, as you say.
Yeah.
From knowing who they are and expressing it and claiming it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it shows where we've come to now, if you ask me, in the collective consciousness, that level of evolution of being a human is happening now with the young ones.
Yeah.
And I think now there's a lot more younger parents and teachers these days who will support that in children.
Yeah, we need to change. I've said this for a while. We need to change the school system sitting in a desk all day long,
Good Lord.
just poring over paperwork is not, doesn't work for these new generations. It doesn't work for them.
Absolutely.
There have to be new ways of teaching them to do things. And if we would just, the Finns, they got it.
Yeah.
They understand it.
Yeah, they do.
Their elementary schools are #1 in the world because they've understood that these kids got to go outside.
Absolutely.
And they got to explore and they got to play, and there's got to be, and they don't, in many all this testing that's going on,
oh Lord,
star testing or whatever, they don't do that over there. They don't start testing them until after like the 4th or 5th grade. They don't do any testing.
Yes.
They just let them learn.
Yes.
So
yeah, well, the other thing too is learning from the children. Adults adults being aware enough to hear what the children are saying, to learn from them, you know, and to move us forward. I mean, if all the adults in children's lives heard them, listened to them, we'd be moving along at a rapid pace. And to me, and again, in a bigger picture, all the systems, the old systems, financial, educational, governmental,
Oh, yeah.
all these old systems are no longer functionable. They're just they got to implode, if you ask me.
Yeah.
So the old systems are of an old era, an old consciousness, an old world, and they're no longer applicable, and they just need to implode. That's my own personal view on things. Because they're serving who we truly are and how we're evolving. And then when you bring the young ones into it, even more so.
Yeah.
So,
And I think they're going to reject the predatory capitalism,
oh
you
God,
know?
good Lord.
Yeah.
Because it's about community. This is what these
Yeah.
younger ones, and it is for
Mhm.
us too, really, but it's really about community as a keynote of livingness, of nourishing and exciting livingness is really about community, including the community of nature, as well as people and animals and so on, trees, rocks. Yeah. Clouds, starships, ascended masters, galactic friends, etc. So on
Yeah.
and on, you know? Yeah. The Aquarian Age. And you know, the keynote of the Aquarian Age is freedom. Right? So the keynote of the Piscean Age, one of them was devotion, you know, kind of bowing down to authority, like yeah, that's only one element of the Piscean Age. There's also a lot of Piscean qualities of, you know, beauty, the arts, sensitivity, that kind of stuff. But the one major keynote, and there's many for Aquarius too, is freedom. And we can just see it's already begun, right? We're in the Aquarian Age. We're into the Aquarian Age, and we've seen big time freedom and not freedom splashed across the world, right?
We've also seen huge freedom, but also huge strides with the civil rights movement and
Yes.
the liberation of women and women being able to
Gosh, yeah.
get a credit card and get a loan and buy a house and do all that stuff. And we're that was all part of the beginning of this Aquarian Age.
Yes,
And
it was, yes.
you know, becoming aware that people have a right to be people.
Yes,
It's who
exactly.
they are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Good Lord, yes.
Yeah.
Good Lord. The ninth initiation too is about renouncing or not recognizing evil and understanding the role of what DK calls the Black Lodge, understanding the role of evil to move things forward and to actually create more enlightenment for people. Yeah, that it has a role. And so to understand that, then you can let go of, you know, not recognize it as evil, whether it's in our personal self and our own dark and light, or the role of the Dark Lodge on a planetary, solar systemic, galactic, universal levels. Because it's like the Kabbalah in the Jewish Kabbalah, the Tree of Life. It creates a friction that
Mhm.
having the duality creates a friction which takes us higher.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, and that's one of those topics where there's in me there's an intellectual kind of I can
Yes.
sort of see it and make that connection,
Yes.
but I'm a long way from being totally in alignment with that concept.
Yes. Got it.
Because the duality between good and evil is it's obvious that it's a duality, but
Yes.
to kind of ground the truth of the yeah that, that
Purpose.
it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
it's all good. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, I think, see, but
yeah,
you choosing to be here and do this, the whole thing is
yeah.
definitely so clearly a marker that you are, that you're doing exactly that is more awareness of larger expansion of consciousness and everything like that. I mean, it's very active with you, and yeah, that's, you're in the process, like as we all are. And so, but I understand. I mean, for me too, I would say it was first all of this was first intellectually understood by me as well. I would say. But then there were things in me, I guess, maybe whatever else. I wouldn't say necessarily emotional, although it does make me feel good to know this stuff, but
Yes.
it's more the
Jules,
awakening.
I got to get up for just a minute. I'll be
Okay,
right back.
all right. It's more the awakening of the soul level of awareness. The bigger picture that the soul level brings to us, right? But yeah, I think especially for us in this era, this time in humanity evolution, that it is the mental where we contact everything first. At least that's my
Yeah, yeah,
experience too.
yeah. Definitely, I see the that this, and I'm not sure if this is well. Anyway, I'll just say that the ego mind
Yes.
needs to be educated. It needs to kind of have exposure to the truth, even though it may resist it. But I
Yeah.
think that's where the opening is. There's an opening to the question: is this true or not? Is that
Yeah.
step in the right direction?
Yes. Yes. Right. Right.
And so, so yeah, just all it's certainly a tool that we choose to use, or well,
Yeah.
we choose to direct. I guess is the way I'm kind of seeing it. We direct it more than anything else.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Yeah. And then when
mhm.
we have the recognition that everything is consciousness, then we can start sculpting and shaping it with our
Yes.
yes. Well, I feel like I want to bring this to a close now. I'll wait till Patty
Sure.
comes back. And yeah. What time is it where you are?
It's 8:42.
Oh my
I
God,
think there's a
you had to get up early, or do you typically get
uh,
up?
I'm not a morning person, so yeah, this is a bit early for me, but it's good. It gives me a early start to my day. I get to go out. It's not like my day is used up.
Yes,
I
yeah.
still have a full day in front of me. Yes,
Yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yeah.
And
I
it is a beautiful day here. Yeah.
oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
Are you still in the same home that near the chapel?
Yes.
That I was thinking back to that experience and just how beautiful that location is, in the shadow of the chapel. It's
No, it is.
I'm reconnecting to that experience of being there. And
Yes. Oh, I feel so blessed to be able to be here.
Mhm.
It's been 7.5 years. Um, and I feel so blessed. Yes.
So lovely there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to put, so we feel so grateful and blessed to have shared all of this together today. So let's just go back to our centered place and grounding all of this experience and information and insights through our seats, through our feet. Breathing. Feeling our connection with the source of all that is through our beautiful crown of light. And we are grateful. I'm grateful to be with both of you also. And whenever you're ready, coming back to opening your eyes. Any last words of wisdom?
I would simply like to say thank you to you, Jules, and you, Patty, for creating this experience or being part of this experience.
Thank
This
you
is
to you as well,
wonderful.
Keith. Thank you. And Jules.
What
No, I think it's just a good time to absorb. Feel sleepy when, the whenever I'm given revelation, I always begin to feel real sleepy, like I need to allow it to absorb through sleep. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
know that phenomena. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what a beautiful morning we have had. Namaste.
Yes.
I honor you.
Yes.
Namaste.
Honestly.
Thank you.
Blessings.
Mwah. Mwah.
All right. All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Enjoy your day. Bye.